Good evening, freshmen and sophomore parents and students. This video is designed to provide vital information regarding the setup of final exam days and also explain how final exams will factor into a student's final semester grade for each subject area. Later on in this video, we will also have teachers from each core subject area explain the specific content that will be assessed on final exams and also provide examples of the review guides that students will receive ahead of time in order to best prepare for the final exams. This first slide explains the bell schedule for the final exam days. Our final exams will take place on Wednesday, December 15th, Thursday, December 16th, and Friday, December 17th. As you can see, we have 90-minute periods for each final exam, and there will be no lunch service on any of the final exam days. Students will take their first and second hour exams in the morning on Wednesday, December 15th. Lincoln Way will provide bus transportation home for students after the second hour final exam on Wednesday. Any student that is taking a 0-hour class should bring a lunch to eat at the beginning of the 0-hour final and will then be provided bus transportation home at the end of the 0-hour final. On Thursday, December 16th, students will take their third, fourth, and fifth hour final exams. Both the 5th hour and 0-hour final exams have 10 extra minutes built in so students can eat lunch at the beginning of those periods. On Thursday, transportation will be provided home after the 5th hour exam only. Friday, December 17th, students will take their 6th and 7th hour final exams. Buses will then leave West after the 7th hour final exam. This next slide is a pre-excused note which a parent signature is required for a student to not have to be at West if he or she has a lunch period at the beginning or end of a final exam day. For example, if a student has a 3rd hour lunch, they will receive this note from their advisory teacher and have it signed by a parent excusing them from the 3rd hour final exam time on Thursday morning. Students must then provide their own transportation to school Thursday morning and arrive before the 4th hour exam begins. This would also apply for students that have a 6th hour lunch for the Friday morning exam period. Students who have lunch during 5th hour may leave for the day directly after their 4th hour exam ends. In this case, the students must provide the signed pre-excused note and must provide their own transportation home after 4th hour. Pre-excused notes for the 3rd, 5th, and 6th hour lunch periods should be returned to West by Friday, December 10th. If a student is not able to provide transportation on their own for the 3rd, 5th, or 6th hour exam periods, he or she will report to the regular advisory classroom where they can study during their advisory exam period. Students that have a 4th hour lunch will stay at West and report to the regular advisory classroom and teacher. Students are not able to be pre-excused from the 4th hour lunch. If your student travels to Lincoln Way Central for a class, they will also do that during final exam days. More information will be communicated to these specific students as we get closer to the final exam days. Next, the breakdown of how final exam grades affect semester grades will be explained.
A semester grade is computed by 80% of what you earned in class up until the final exam and 20% of how you perform on your final exam. Semester grades are the only grades on your school transcripts along with your attendance and your cumulative grade point average. Transcripts are what future colleges, trade schools, employers, etc. look at for your admissions and hiring purposes. This slide reflects the grade distribution I just mentioned and the grading scale. Let's say you are trying to earn all A's for the semester. This slide shows you how to calculate what you must earn on your final exam to earn the lowest possible A- for the semester grade. In the example provided, the student is currently earning a 92%, so the student plugs their current semester grade into the formula along with 90%, which is the lowest possible A. As you can see from the formula, the student needs to earn an 82% on the final exam to earn an A- for the semester. This slide shows what a difference studying for a final exam can make on your overall semester grade. Both student A and B currently have an 88% or a B+ in the same class. Student A didn't put a lot of effort into studying for the final exam and wound up earning a D- on it with a semester grade of a B-. Student B put a lot of effort into studying and earned an A+ on the final exam with an overall semester grade of an A-. Both students had the same grade heading into the final exam but finished a full grade apart. 20% may not sound like a lot of weight, but it can make the difference in your semester grade.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Shear, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about study skills and preparing for finals. Let me start off by taking a look at the life of a student in the 1980s during finals, and that would have been myself in 1980. I was a freshman, and we had final exams. And when I went home to study the night before, we had these things in our house. So there were books and records, magazines, we got the newspaper, there was a radio, there was one television and only one phone. So going home and studying for several hours seemed like not a big chore. Fast forward to the life of a student in the 21st century, and you can see there's so much more available to them, but so much more out there for them to be distracted by. And it's even more. So the word distract comes to us from the Latin. It's a prefix dis, which means away, and then the Latin root tract, which means to draw. Literally, to distract means to draw away. And so as much as I like technology and I think technology can be very useful in studying and planning, it also can be a problem. So as you are studying, I think it's important to do some things to prepare. One of the things you can do is to set out a calendar. It is going to be a busy month. So create some type of calendar for yourself and include on your calendar, of course, your finals, other tests. Many of you will have tests the week before finals. You'll have projects due. There's a lot of other important dates. Many of you are in a sport or in a club or an activity, and you will have performances if you are in band or in orchestra. And so those need to be included as well as any family events or church events that you might be attending or have to take part in. So it's good to know your dates and get those set up. And then you need to take a look and see how you're going to structure your study time. Break up your study time in units, chapters, or chunks of information. Again, making assessments of what you know and what you don't know and what you exactly need to review. One thing is to understand the grading system. 80% of it is all the work we have done in the semester, and 20% of it is your final exam. So where does your grade stand right now? Prioritize your time. One of the things you can do before you take these tests is to set your goals. There's a big difference between getting a B and a B-, or getting a C+ or getting a C. So set your goals, make an assessment of those grades. Take and review notes as the teachers are working on reviewing with you or playing review games. Note what things that are being reviewed or stressed. Create or fill in all your study guides and the due dates that are required. Make sure you're doing them before, because then if you have any questions, you can always seek the teacher. The morning before the final is not the time to do that. Plan your study schedule, set up your study environment. Where are you going to study during this time? Actively participate in any reviews. Just don't sit back and think it's a time where you can kind of just chill. Seek the teacher if you need help. Make an appointment with the teacher. And then create your own online reviews. There's Quizlets that you can make. Making them yourself is much more powerful than having somebody else make them. Of course, there's things that you can do during the test. Making sure you pre-read the entire test. Making sure you carefully read and understand all your directions. Reading your questions and answers in its entirety. Raising your hand and accessing the teacher if you need assistance. And then after the test, you make sure you thoroughly review your test. You look it over and you've answered all questions. Check your answer sheet that you bubbled everything in. Do you have test anxiety? Study smart. It's not going to be what you study, it's how did I study, especially for that retention. Review and develop good study habits. Discuss the material with someone. Sometimes studying in isolation is not the way to go. Have someone quiz you with the information. Do a study group. Get a good night's sleep. Sleep is extremely important at this time. Your brain will work more effectively for you if you've had a good night's sleep. Making sure you're getting proper nourishment and having a snack before you take the test. Take deep breaths and relax. We've done some of that mindfulness. Clear your mind. All right. Tell yourself you've got this. And then again, there's always time to ask for that guidance. So it's mentally preparing yourself for it. It's an hour-and-a-half test, but doing some prep time ahead of time will make it a little less stressful for yourself. Thanks.
Freshmen are mainly in one of two math courses, Algebra 1 or Algebra 1 Honors. We will first look at Algebra 1. By the time students take first semester exams, they will have learned 5 units of material. These units are highlighted here, and there is more detail beneath each unit. This exam will have 50 multiple choice questions. To help students prepare for this exam, a review packet will be distributed to students in the near future. We will now look at Algebra 1 Honors. By the time students take first semester exams, they will have learned 10 units of material. These units are highlighted here, and there is more detail beneath each unit. This exam will have 60 multiple choice questions. They will also receive a review packet to help them prepare. This review packet will be representative of the type of questions students will need to be able to answer on their exam. All students should complete the packet with the idea of relearning as opposed to just completing all of the problems. Ideally, each student would review their notes prior to working through the packet and not be dependent on looking up how to do every problem. Students should circle problems they struggle with as they attempt the problems. They should then ask their teacher for help on those problems on days in class dedicated to reviewing for the semester exams. I hope this information has helped. Students can also visit the Math Center during their advisory if they would like some extra help outside of class prior to their exams. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gary Henderson. I'm the science chair here at Lincoln Way West. And I want to talk to you a little bit about freshmen taking the final exams. There's 3 different classes at the freshman level: environmental biology, biology, and honors biology. Each level is going to have a study guide for the students. And what you see here in this slideshow is simply the overview of what's covered during that year. So the first slide here is environmental biology with some of the terms and content. And as you go along, your students are going to wonder, well, is this all that's on my final? You're going to get a very detailed study guide. And my advice is the most important thing is that your students do that study guide as soon as possible, that they get it checked over by their teacher, or they utilize the keys that teachers provide sometimes. Pay attention to what's going on and when with the study guides. You do not want to do this a couple days before finals begin. This should be started well ahead of time. And some of the students will remember these concepts very clearly. Others will be much more difficult to remember. So this is environmental biology. Here's honors biology. You can see that a lot of the terms are similar, and some of the terms are a little more complex. Again, honors biology will have a final exam review study guide that they're going to utilize. I know Mrs. Horn is working on that right now, and students will have an opportunity to review in class a number of times. Some teachers, like myself, even offer an opportunity to review outside of class for final exams. Take advantage of everything that you can. Take this seriously. Here's the last one, biology. Again, a lot of the terms should be very similar to some of the other classes, just a little less detail depending on which class it is. If you have questions, I encourage you to talk to your teacher. Don't put this off until the last minute. Do this 20 minutes at a time, 30 minutes at a time. Don't try and sit down for 6 hours straight. Try to avoid some distractions. Get rid of your phone for a while. I know that's very difficult for some of you, but that phone is not what I would call a good studying tool for most of us. You could always make Quizlets and stuff. There's all sorts of different things you can do with online services now. Good luck. Work hard. Thank you.
Hello, I am Mrs. Shear, and I'm here to talk about the Reading and Freshman Seminar Final Exam Study Guide. This final exam is going to consist of 2 components. One is vocabulary, which will be 75 questions, and 5 reading passages, which will consist of 44 questions. And one of the ways that you can study for the comprehension questions in the reading passages, there will be 5 of them, is that you read the passage and answer the questions that ask the reader to apply the reading strategies. So you can see we have our M words listed here on the study guide and our reading terminology that we covered. That is all located on the cardstock that you filled out in the first month of school. I would refamiliarize yourself with those terms. So going into the reading of the 5 passages, you've got that background knowledge or schema. You should also consider QAR. Can you identify the different types of questions and apply that knowledge? Are the questions that are being asked of you right there questions? Are they think and search questions? Or are they author and me questions? The Greek and Latin word parts will be all the units that we have covered thus far: brain and body, faith and justice, Western civilization, biology, and math. You're going to have to know the difference between prefixes, suffixes, and roots. There's going to be visual vocab, identification, and context clue passages. So one way that I would study for this part is to take this study guide and highlight the ones that you do not know. Highlight the ones that you do not know. And then go from there and study those. So there are your 5 units. For reading, you would do the same thing. So on this page are the 5 sections that we had for vocabulary in our reading classes. Again, take your highlighter, highlight the ones you do not know. There are Quizlets for you to play with vocabulary, and there certainly is Kahoot, and there'll be review in class. But you can get started now by making those assessments and begin studying the ones that you do not know.
The English final exam will assess skill mastery rather than recall of specific content. Like all classes, final exams in English make up 20% of a student's semester grade, so it's important that students take them seriously. The English final exam for both English 1 and English 1 Honors has 2 parts: a multiple choice passage analysis and an in-class essay. Both of these are weighted equally in the calculation of the final exam grade. The passage analysis test is a multiple choice exam where students read short story selections that they have not seen prior to the testing day. They are then asked questions about the passage to demonstrate the mastery of literary analysis skills that they have practiced throughout the semester, such as making inferences, analyzing characters, and identifying the use of literary devices, such as figurative language. The essay portion of the final exam takes place on the last regular day of classes before the special final exam schedule begins. This year, That will be Tuesday, December 14th. On this portion of the final exam, students are asked to write a brief essay that demonstrates the claim, evidence, reasoning structure they have practiced throughout the semester. A link to the body paragraph graphic organizer is here, as well as the pathway to this organizer on our website. This slide has key terms and ideas to review for both the passage analysis and essay portions of the final exam. Students should be able to explain what each term means, as well as to apply it to their writing or literary analysis.
Hello, my name is Mr. Gallagher, and I am a AP Human Geography teacher, also known as Honors World History and Geography, and also the Social Science Department Chair. I'll be spending the next couple moments talking at you about the Social Science Final Review and some of the tips and advice we have for your student as they prepare to navigate this finals experience. First things first, and it is that we encourage students to try to make a plan when they are going through their finals review. And step one would be to put their phone away when they are actually trying to study and engage with review material. As teachers, we find that it is very distracting for students to be by their phone physically. So best case scenario is to physically remove yourself from the device so that you can fully concentrate on reviewing. Step two would be to gather all the resources you will need. All students, whether they are in college prep, world history, or AP Human Geography, will be given study guides and review materials, and just make sure that they are handy on you when you want to begin the review process. Step three would be making a schedule. You will be given your review materials at a very early date, usually around the beginning of December. So you will have multiple weeks in which to prepare for your final. And we encourage students, don't wait until the last second to start review, but plot it out a little bit. Divide the study guide out into chunks. Take portions of your night or available time, and it will not seem that daunting of a task to prepare if you just divide that time up. And then finally, step four, this is an important step. If you are going through your study guide and you need clarity on something or another explanation, we encourage students actively, please seek us out either in person, which is ideal, or through Microsoft Teams and the communication that students have through text, and talk with us, because as a department, we want students to succeed on this final. We want them to do well, and we are certainly willing to help clarify any issues they may have. What you're seeing here are some examples of previous study guides that we have given students as they prepare for the final. Your study guide that you receive from your teacher will look very similar to this. It will be divided up, usually chronologically, to what they've learned in class. And here's an example of the World History Study Guide. So like I said, it does have a lot of information on it, but if you do divide it up into chunks, it is pretty manageable if you spend 10 to 15 minutes a night just blocking different things out, taking a night and saying, okay, I'm going to go through the first half of vocabulary tonight, so on and so forth. You are able to work your way through the guide. For the AP Human students, the World History and Geography Honors students, your teachers will provide you a study guide as well, and I will show that on screen in a moment. But also some tips to prepare for the final is to use the vocabulary and objective sheets that you've already received throughout class as a guide for studying. A lot of teachers will include online practice questions as well that could be accessed through Microsoft Teams. And really, besides the study guides themselves, which I'm going to switch to the Honors World History and Geography study guide. There are so many online reviews that students can take, whether they be Quizlets or links provided to them from their teacher on Microsoft Teams. So overall, as a department in social studies, we are offering a lot of resources to the students to do well. We think they will navigate their first finals experience well, and also encourage your student, if they have questions, please seek us out. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Good evening, parents. This is Mike Villa speaking on behalf of Physical Education and Health. During final exams, your child will either take a PE or health exam based on what class they are currently in. Let's first start with physical education. The physical education final will be based off their current swim unit they are in. This has been an 8-week class that has covered a variety of swim techniques and safety. They will be provided a study guide from their instructor that will cover all the information they have had these past 8 weeks. The test will consist of 50 questions with a variety of multiple choice, true, false, and fill-in-the-blank questions. We feel that the swim unit is one of the most important life skills they will need. Therefore, we have placed a major emphasis on this unit and have decided to create a final exam test that covers just the swim information. Students have already tested on the other units of PE at the midterm. Health students will take a 100-question comprehensive final that will cover the following units: wellness, nutrition, substance abuse, infectious disease, mental emotional health, social health, background lessons, and reproduction and pregnancy. Students will be given a final exam study guide that will cover the focus on the main points of each unit. Parents, please make sure students are taking the time to do the study guide. We cannot stress the importance of these study guides. They will help prepare your child for their PE or health final. The teachers will also be posting all study guide information on their Teams page. If your child says they do not need to study for PE or health, that is not true. This finals is just as important as it can change a grade for better or worse. Good luck, and if you need any information for the finals, please check your child's Teams page, as it will have all the information posted from their teachers.